Breaking news, a massive evacuation in California was ordered after a spillway to the nation's tallest dam was damaged. That and much more coming up on Auburn Global. Good evening and welcome to Auburn Global. I'm Callie Devaney. 7 police officers were convicted Tuesday of assaulting a protester during Hong Kong's pro-democracy demonstrations in 2014. All the defendants faced one joint count of causing grievous bodily harm with intent. But in the end, the city's court convicted them with a lesser charge of assault causing actually bodily harm. The convicted officers face a maximum 3 years in prison, according to Hong Kong's law. 5 of the 7 police officers charged with assaulting a pro-democracy activist on October 15, 2014, arriving at the district in Hong Kong on February 14, 2017. One of the defendants, policeman Chow Sing Town, 31, was also found guilty of common assault for slapping social worker King Sang King Tu twice during an interview at a police station in Hong Kong's Central District. Police supporters chant slogans and hold up banners in support of 7 convicted Hong Kong policemen. Chan could face a maximum of 1 more year in prison than his co-defendants. The verdict was handed down on Tuesday, and court will resume on Friday for imitation, where defense will argue for a lighter sentence. Outside the district court, protesters who supported the policemen shouted slogans and faced off anti-pro-democracy supporters who demanded justice. Russia violates treaty. Moscow has developed a cruise missile in apparent treaty violation. A senior military officer told CNN News. CNN's Michelle Kozowski has more on the story.
Is it possible that these pokes and proddings by Russia right now are just a coincidence in terms of timing?
Probably not. I mean, we're seeing kind of it all. The spy ship floating around off of Delaware. It is in international waters, by the way. A stepped up of its missile that it violates a treaty. And both of those we've known about and have made appearances before. But we're also seeing these unsafe, provocative maneuvers by Russian planes against a U.S. ship in the Black Sea. And we're seeing this all, within a matter of days of each other. It's confusing because Russia says it wants a good relationship with the U.S. The Trump administration says it's open to a good relationship with Russia. But this is clearly Russia asserting itself. Doesn't like the sanctions that the Obama administration put on it after the allegations of hacking. It doesn't like those accusations leveled against it. It doesn't like the Russophobia that it keeps saying the U.S. has toward it. So it's Russia clearly putting itself out there, making itself known in these somewhat provocative ways. And the U.S. is, moving forward and trying to still work together, at least in some areas.
The move is just the latest in the string of Russian provocations in the early days of Trump's administration. President Vladimir Putin's statement that Russia does not intend to become a party to the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. It was signed in 2000 but never ratified. It is a huge blow to the International Justice Administration, International said today. The Russian Foreign Ministry said a statement that the ICC was not truly independent and authorized judicial body and had failed to live up to its promises. It's hard not to see this as an attempt by Russia to undermine the progress towards international justice. This decision was apparently made with lighter speed, just hours before the ICC prosecutor said that the situation within the territory of crime and a statute may amount to the international armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine, said Sergei Niktor, Director of Administration International Russia. Russia never demonstrated any genuine intention to ratify the Rome Statute, and this announcement appears as nothing but contempt for the aims of the ICC putting an end to impunity for genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, and is an affront to all victims of these appalling crimes. Amnesty International has consistently condemned Russia's repeated efforts to block the referral of the situation in Syria to the ICC prosecutor as the UN Security Council, and the organization has also documented possible war crimes committed by Russian forces during the conflict in Syria. The sudden death of North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother was murdered, South Korean officials announced Wednesday.
Top story this morning, the older half-brother of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is believed to have been killed at an airport in Kuala Lumpur. Police in Malaysia say they believe Kim Jong-nam was poisoned. Local media outlets say he may have been killed using poison needles or some sort of chemical spray. Speculation is swirling that his sibling, thousands of kilometers away in Pyongyang, could have had a hand in his mysterious death. Kim Mok-yeon
South
starts us
Korea's
off.
Unification Amnesty told CNN they were working with Malaysian authorities to get additional information. Last December, former President Obama slapped Russia with sanctions for interfering with the presidential election. The intelligence community says Russia did this to boost President Trump's odds of winning. Then last month, it came out that Flynn had been in touch with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. on the same day those sanctions were announced. Flynn denied that the discussions were sanctions. Vice President Mike Pence publicly defended him based on the info Flynn had given him. Last week, U.S. officials said actually Flynn was the Russian ambassador, did discuss the sanctions, and Flynn may have hinted that the incoming Trump administration would be open to lifting them. Problem since Flynn wasn't working for the White House yet, and there's an A law against regular citizens participating in foreign relations discussions. Cue a lot of speculation that he was on his way out of lying. So what's the latest? Last night, it came out that the Justice Department warned the Trump administration last month that Flynn misled them about the phone calls and that this could expose him by the blackmail by the Russians. It's unclear what the White House did with that info yesterday. Flynn said inadvertently briefed Pence and the others with incomplete information on the calls with the Russian ambassador. There's the Friedman Facility House, the Arabi Morris Friedman Center for Computer Sciences, a Friedman fitness room in a pre-Army academy, a playground, and a plaza. The plague's dedicated sites around Beit El, a religious Jewish settlement deep in Israeli-occupied West Bank, attest to the years of financial, emotional, and family bonds neutered by American lawyer David M. Friedman and his wife Tammy. Under previous administration, American diplomats have been buried from setting foot in such settlements, viewed as most of the world as a violation of the international law and branded by the Obama administration as illegitimate. But Mr. Friedman, President Trump's pick for ambassador to Israeli, upends the conventional protocols and has exposed views to the right of Israel's conservative Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Mr. Friedman, an Orthodox Jewish bankruptcy lawyer from Long Island, has rejected the internationally accepted two-state solution for Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He works in AIDS prevention, and his wife gets the occasional gig at a local supermarket, but neither job is regular enough for a proper home, Zal Lugo says. So his family lives in a shack here in Cape Town's largest black township, making do with all the thin walls of painted metal. Many of his neighbors, housekeepers, factory workers, nurse aides are in the same predicament, working hard at jobs available to Black South Americans, but barely scraping by. That money that we're getting from work is just not enough to be able to take care of our families, said Mr. Lugo, 34, as neighborhood children, including his 3-year-old son, ran around their narrow street recently. We need an intervention. South Africa is now considering one, faced with rising discontent over the economy among black voters. The government is weighing something more common in developing economies, a national minimum wage. Late last year, a government panel recommended about $260 a month, or about $1.50 an hour, a small amount even in South Africa, but close to the median income in a country where the official unemployment rate is 27% and nearly half of the population lives in poverty. Last week, the nation's Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa endorsed the panel's recommendation, vowing that the minimum wage would be in effect by May 2018. But in such a sluggish economy, opponents contend that the effort would destroy jobs, especially for the least skilled. We'll be right back. Coming up, you'll hear from Grace Reynolds with everything happening around the U.S. You're watching Eagle Eye Channel 6.
I hope that you've been able to learn a strong work ethic surrounded by character, integrity, perseverance, so that when your 1 second comes, you'll be prepared for it.
Chris Davis.
45, there goes Davis!
Your 1 second, our 1 second is now. And our lives have been guided by the principles of one of the greatest academic institutions in the country, Auburn University.
Hey guys, I'm Grace Reynolds, and this is U.S. News. Comedian James Corden hosted the star-studded 59th Annual Grammy Awards Sunday night. Adele and Beyonce dominated the Grammys, each performing at the annual Music Awards ceremony and taking home a combined 7 of the top prizes. Beyonce, pregnant with twins, performed her songs Love Drought and Sandcastles, while Adele performed her song Hello and George Michael's song Fast Love as a tribute to the late singer. Beyonce won Best Music Video for Formation and Best Urban Contemporary Album for Lemonade. Adele won Record of the Year and Song of the Year for her single Hello. During her acceptance speech for Album of the Year, Adele broke her Grammy Award in half and praised Beyonce for her Lemonade album, saying, "I was completely rooting for her. I voted for her. I felt like it was her time to win." The late David Bowie also won big at the awards ceremony with 5 awards for his final album, Black Star, and Chance the Rapper became the first artist to win a Grammy without selling physical copies of his music. Nearly 40 years after the kidnapping and killing of New York City 6-year-old Eaton Patz in 1979, the case was finally closed this week. Pedro Hernandez received the guilty verdict in court on Tuesday, marking the end of one of the city's oldest cases. Eaton first disappeared May 25, 1979, as he was walking to his school bus stop. His face appeared on milk cartons across the United States, making it the first time milk cartons had been used to locate missing children. CEO and president of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, John F. Clark, said in a statement, "The abduction awakened the nation to child abduction and helped change the way law enforcement investigates these crimes. NCMEC is here today, and America's children are safer because of Eaton and other children whose abductions and killings launched a national movement." The Justice Department is no longer fighting an injunction that has kept transgender students from using school bathrooms and other facilities that correspond with their gender identity. The department under the Obama administration was fighting 12 states until Friday, when both the department and the states moved to cancel an upcoming hearing. Under Obama, Title IX was interpreted as protecting transgender students. Under Trump, that interpretation has changed. Dropping the case means that states are not guided by the federal government on how to treat transgender students. Healthcare companies Aetna and Humana have called off a planned merger due to federal court hearing ruling from last month. A federal judge ruled against Aetna's acquisition of Humana, saying, "The merger of Aetna and Humana would be likely to substantially lessen competition in markets for individual Medicare Advantage plans and health insurance sold on the public exchanges in 364 counties." Earlier this month, another federal judge also blocked the merger of healthcare insurance companies Anthem and Cigna. These blocks are coming from claims that the mergers would reduce competition, limit patient coverage options, and the type of care they receive. Former National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn was asked to resign Monday evening after only 23 days on the job under President Trump. Flynn came under fire this past week for giving incomplete information to Vice President Mike Pence about his phone conversation with Russia's ambassador to Washington. Flynn initially confirmed that he had spoken to the ambassador, but the two had not discussed sanctions with the U.S. imposed on Russia for its suspected interference in the 2016 election. It was publicly confirmed later that Flynn had discussed the sanctions with Russia before Trump took office, which could be a breach of the law. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said it was a matter of trust that prompted Trump to ask for Flynn's resignation.
We've been reviewing and evaluating this issue with respect to General Flynn on a daily basis for a few weeks, trying to ascertain the truth. We got to a point not based on a legal issue, but based on a trust issue, where the level of trust between the President and General Flynn had eroded to the point where he felt he had to make a change. The President was very concerned that General Flynn had misled the Vice President.
Flynn was also fired as Barack Obama's director of the Defense Intelligence Agency in 2014. A week after counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway promoted President Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump's clothing line on television, the Office of Government Ethics is calling for an investigation of her actions. Conway appeared on Fox News' Fox and Friends last week and was asked about Nordstrom's decision to stop carrying Ivanka Trump products.
All over the internet bragging about what they've done to her and her line, and yet they're using the most prominent woman in Donald Trump's, most prominent, she's his daughter, and they're using her, who's been a champion for women empowerment, women in the workplace, to get to him.
Just,
so I think people can see through that.
30
go
seconds.
buy Ivanka's stuff is what I would tell you. I hate shopping. I'm going to go get some on myself.
Government ethics laws prohibit any government employee from endorsing any product publicly. Several other stores, including Neiman Marcus, TJ Maxx, and Marshall's, have also stopped carrying the line. The U.S. Army announced plans to spend $300 million on bonuses and advertisements to add the 6,000 more recruits it needs to fill out its ranks. This increase will be the largest in-year increase in the history of the all-volunteer force that dates back to 1973. President Trump has said he wants as many as 60,000 more soldiers in the force. Congress has not yet approved the money to fund the troop requirement. The temporary legislation funding the federal government doesn't expire until late April, and Congress is not expected to make a decision on the money before then. The Army is planning to double recruits' bonuses to as much as $40,000 for hard-to-fill military specialties. They will also offer a shorter 2-year enlistment in some jobs, down from the current requirement of 3 or more years. 188,000 residents in 3 counties in Northern California were evacuated earlier this week following a massive crack that formed in a spillway at Northern California's Oroville Dam. The dam has 2 spillways to prevent overflow of the Oroville Lake. Both of the spillways are damaged. Officials said the spillway was in danger of failing any minute, possibly releasing a 3-story wall of water. Unusually heavy rainfall in the region is to blame for the erosion and damage of the spillways. As of Wednesday morning, residents have been allowed to return to their homes with the fear of disaster largely gone. President Trump has allocated emergency funds to the area as crews work to rapidly repair the spillways before the next round of rain hits the area. After the break, we'll head back to the desk with a discussion of the hottest headlines. You're watching Eagle Eye TV, Channel 6.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
American traveler Cassie DePaycole has visited every country in the world in record time, stepping foot in all 196 nations in 18 months and 26 days. The 27-year-old is planting trees across the world to offset the environmental impact of her expedition. The trip cost her $198,000, funded mostly by sponsors. She has plans to release a documentary about her journey. This is just incredible. I just want to travel for the rest of my life like she did.
The fact that she got sponsors to do that, like, I need to get sponsors. That at Auburn University up, and
that
we
needs
can
to be
have
our
them
job.
sponsors.
Yeah, for
be my
sure.
tuition being paid back, basically. All right, well, put down the remote and remember your vows. A Netflix study says a new kind of cheating is on the rise. More of us are sneaking away from our partners to watch that thing we promised we'd wait to watch with them. The phenomenon has tripled since 2013, Netflix says. According to the company's data, 48% of streaming couples in the U.S. include at least one partner who has cheated on the other. It isn't just an American pastime, it's happening around the world. Mexico and Brazil have the most common cheaters with 58% and 57% respectively, where the Netherlands have the most faithful viewers with 73% of them remaining true. Honestly, I'm kind of in that bucket. I definitely will watch The Office before I wait for someone.
Some
or
shows
Prison
just
Break.
can't wait.
Some shows you just cannot wait for.
They're so addicting these days.
Very true.
And the question that will close out our show, people are sharing what they think the world would look like if dads were in charge. Welcome to the #DadParty. We have a tweet here from @Colvlin that says, #DadParty, 2017 budget announcement. Do you think I'm made of money? Sounds exactly like my dad. What do you think?
Honestly, if my dad had a dad party, it would end at 8 o'clock. He'd be in bed, and it'd just be water because he wants to say. Actually, it'd be tap water, not even Dasani. Wouldn't even go to that far.
All about saving money. That's pretty much every dad, I feel
Every dad. Well, that's all for Auburn Global this week.
Keep up to date with all the latest global news by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @EagleEyeTV.
And don't forget to send us pictures via our social media. I'm Callie Devaney.
And I'm Grace Reynolds. Thanks for watching, and War Eagle.